Hello and welcome for the first time. This is one of three videos. It may be the first or the second or the third that you watch. These videos are about tools, digital tools to use for collaborating remotely, right? Like if you work on teams that you ain't always in the same office together or y'all are located in different parts of the state, different parts of the country, these tools work super good. The other two videos, one is on Trello that is pretty similar to Microsoft Planner, which is what we're going to be going over right now. The other one is Mural, which is a little different. And my favorites are Mural and Trello. Um, that being said, Microsoft Planner is like pretty slick because it has this feature that terrifies me, but also is pretty functional, especially when within an enterprise account, because people's calendars and stuff talk to each other. So with Microsoft Planner, you can create tasks, you can assign it to different people within your organization, and you can include those tasks or sync it up with your Outlook calendar, which I don't know, sometimes that sounds really cool, and sometimes it sounds like super terrifying because, man, we got a lot of stuff going on. Anyhow, I'm gonna go ahead and jump into Microsoft Planner. And there's, this Microsoft Planner, there's a little super cool nugget that I'll maybe drop at the end. We'll see. Boom. So here we go. This is Microsoft Planner. And this is a template that I used to like visualize my workflow for the podcast, the Learnings and Missteps podcast. And you can see here, I've got some buckets, right? This one, I titled it episode workflow, but you can title it as to do. And then here, look, I don't know what I was thinking. I made a bucket that says evolution empire, but bam, here's done. And so I can move them back. Like I can move this bucket of cards wherever I want to move them. Well, the evolution of empire, maybe that's fans only content. So don't worry about that. Disregard that. But here we are in to do, doing, done. Same thing. Like you could see here, you got functionality, you got different colors that you can use. And I've already labeled the colors. So I'm going to assign a label and I get all of these colors to pick from. And so let's just say I want to change the color to pink, and there's pink, right? I can click on that bad boy and like collapse it so I don't see the words and just the color, but I prefer to see the words with the color. It helps me see that. So I'm gonna go back and change that. And I guess like the takeaway there is, look at all these colors. Oh, I like that one. That color's way better. Anyways, the takeaway there is each of these colors, you can edit whatever's in there and you can have it say somebody's name or a particular task or a particular project. Like you can customize it and make it work for you, right? We always want to make the tools work for us. We don't want to be working for the tools. So I can take those bad boys off. Let me take the pink off. Boom. So now it's just processing. And one of the steps in my workflow is schedule the interview. Once I schedule the interview, guess what happens? I move it to done. And then prep call, because the most important thing about the prep call is to make sure that the guest is comfortable and all the tech is working, etc. So anyways, that's about podcasts. But as it relates to the project, I'm wondering, what would you label these different cards? Would you label it by team member? Would you label it by project? Would you label it by objective? I mean, it has that much flexibility and it's entirely up to you. One of the other things, look at that assign button. Some people love that assign button, and I'm one of them, unless I'm being assigned to tasks. And so here you can type in somebody's name or their email address, and it'll send them a notification that they have a task, which, good, bad, or indifferent, it's important. Another important thing is, like, for real, because I've done this really badly in the past. But an important thing is, even though you have this digital tool to use and coordinate and update and visualize, like all the fancy, sexy stuff, it is irresponsible of you to not have a regular check-in with your team, if not face to face, at least virtually, where you can see everybody's face on the screen and go through each of the tasks before you start the cycle, because you're doing that to secure a commitment and make sure they're clear on the expectation. And then at the end of the cycle, when we get to done, you want to make sure, like, okay, you're done. the individual that's responsible for that task, the best thing to do is to have them demonstrate, prove, if you will, that that task is indeed done. Because if it was done to their definition and not done to yours, guess what? That's rework. And you're going to pile up work on them or accept work on yourself. And you got to go back and fix that thing. So there's that check in so that y'all can calibrate expectations and make sure everybody's on the same page before you start a new cycle, right? Quality at the source. You don't want to introduce problems into the system. Kill them when you can. And so that super sexy thing, I don't know if this will let me do it. This is the secret code here, is charts. So it'll visualize. Oh, it'll visualize the stuff, right? So you can see there are 19 tasks that have not been started. Oh my God. And there's 4 that are late, 0 that are completed. And so that's because on the task, you can also create a due date. And that's when all of these metrics really start taking it action and maybe can offer some value to you. And then you can see here in the buckets, just a quick glance, right? There's over 12 that are in to do, there's 0 in doing, and there's 9 here in done. And then the evolution of empire. Shh, don't tell anybody about that. Priority, right? Medium, you could set priority on the targs. Anyways, the point here is that you can get metrics out of Microsoft Planner. It automatically produces these visual high level views of what's actually going on. And if you like metrics, it can improve your game, but it can also slow you down. So I would start with just the buckets and updating and communicating. And once you get super comfortable with it, then worry about the metrics. Another sexy thing about it is it will visualize it on the calendar, on a calendar view. And that only comes into play if you set up dates. Let's go back and see if I could do that. So we're going to say prep call. I'm going to assign a due date. Due date is September 15th. Oh yeah, you can add checklist, right? So if prep call is a big deal, there may be multiple sub steps within prep call. So it'll be step 1, step 2, right? Just in case it's super detailed, there's some granular details that are or key points that are really important. You can include that in there. You can add comments down here. You can attach stuff. There's a lot. So anyways, progress, I'm going to say it started. In progress, not done yet, but it's in progress. And priority, I'm going to change it to urgent. Oh my God, it's so important. And now we're going to go back to the schedule and see how it shows up on our schedule on the calendar view. So it can do that. It has, like I said, it has some extra functionality. Mural doesn't do that. There's also this other thing here. Trello has similar functionality, but there's an upgrade. I think it's totally worth it. And here is the underlying key point here. After you watch the other 2 videos on Trello and Mural, maybe there's 2 key points. One is these are not the only tools out there. There's tons of tools out there. So find them. I'm not an affiliate of any of these. I wish I was. The second thing is the only reason I understand these 3 tools and I'm not highlighting other tools is because I've spent time playing around with the tools. Not just because I like finding new apps and messing around in apps. I spent time learning all these different apps and all these different digital tools because the teams that I worked with, they accelerated or their performance was better in one tool or the other. And so it brings tremendous value to you yourself. Experiment with them, see which one you really like, which one you have access to, which one is less cost prohibitive, and then introduce that to your team and see how your team's reacting to it. The number one indicator that it's a good thing is that they're using it. And if they ain't using it, guess what? It may be a bad tool, or you maybe need some education and training around the tool. But I recommend that you be flexible and adaptive to the team that you're supporting, because it's the team that we are serving, and whatever helps them do gooder, that's what we want to do. Be cool, and we'll talk at you next time. Peace.